Hello, my lovely audience. Welcome to another video. So then, yeah, this is the what if I was hinting at earlier. First of all, I am so fucking pissed off right now, you would not believe. You wanna know why? Because, guess what? As it turns out, my phone lacks the ability to, good fucking grief. Whose idea was it to remove the ability to switch on, to give the permission for things to record over my phone. Now I can't, do streams. Because that button, the literal button is gone. The button for that. Gone like my dad. Man, I've been making a lot of my dad jokes recently. Anyway, second of all, for this what if to make sense, I have to explain a theory to you. A scientific theory. Now, about physics. Now, the theory goes, if you take an apple and put it inside of a box, and this box is entirely impenetrable, oh my goodness, brain fart. It's entirely immute. It cannot change, the box does not change at all, it cannot be opened again. The box remains the way it is for all of eternity. Now, so after a couple million years, couple billion years, the theory goes that the apple would start getting hot. Really, really hot. Essentially creating a Big Bang inside of the box. Now this Big Bang would then result in, a universe being formed inside the box. And it is believed that anything and everything will happen inside of the box. Anything at all. Literally anything. Including the apple being reformed. So Izuku's quirk is that up to 11. Now, I'm gonna explain the quirk. I did explain it to one viewer, who I swore to secrecy until this video comes out, but I didn't explain it well, because it was 2 in the morning in my country, so I was kind of a bit loopy, if I'm being honest. So, yeah. Now, imagine, you know how Overhaul is able to restructure matter however he wants, but concrete remains as concrete with him. He can't exactly turn concrete into gold. Actually, can he? I don't think he can. But Izuku can. His quirk allows him to essentially pull from time itself. How does that work? Well, now, like I said, in the box, anything and everything can happen. So Izuku is able to take the atoms of something and move them forward to the point where the atoms change what they are. So, like I said, anything and everything can happen. So he could turn someone, from a person to a bird to a dog. Hell, he could take one singular atom and rewind it all the way back to the beginning of the Big Bang, essentially recreating it, and, he could do that. Or, he could move an atom all the way to the end of the universe, turning it into a black hole. The end of existence. Turning it into a black hole, which he can do some incredible bullshit with, you will see later on in the video. And along with that, Izuku was able to restructure atoms by controlling the quirks. Quirks. Yes, that's what makes up an atom. A bunch of quirks. Now, he can restructure the quirks. And, what connects the atom, essentially turning lead into gold, or water into dirt, or lava, or turning a TV into a person. So, yeah. And this applies to anything. He doesn't need to be touching it to work, he just needs to know it exists. Well, he just needs to know the item he is transmuting exists. And if he knows it exists, he can do whatever the fuck he wants with it. He can turn air into spikes. He can turn air into mustard gas. Yeah. This is an overpowered quirk, because it essentially allows him to literally obliterate universe, like entire galaxies, and reshape them however he wants. Yeah, it is to that scale. Hell, Izuku isn't even bound by this world. Now, the viewer who I leaked this information to made a comparison to the spot before I leaked, the information. Holy shit! Holy shit! Why didn't I think about that? That was my first reaction. Why didn't I think about that? So yeah, he can even just decide to leave the shithole of his universe into another. So it's an overpowered quirk. And there's probably more to it that I'm not explaining, but that's the base concept. Essentially, reality manipulation at its finest. I finally made a what if where I have the excuse to have a character that can be Goku. Like with all my other what ifs, I'm fine to admit it. But Goku ain't doing jack shit when he gets turned into a chair. He ain't doing jack shit when he gets turned inside out, reduced to atoms, made into a chair, or just used as a glorified Big Bang bomb. He ain't doing jack shit. Hell, he can even possibly pull an Eerie and rewind a body to the point where the quirk stops existing. Yeah, this is absurd. This is why I was making such a big fuss about this quirk. It is absolutely fucking absurd, and I love it. This has to be the most overpowered and absurd what if I have ever made. Anyway, yeah. With that out of the way, let's get on to the what if. Izuku, well, growing up, he wasn't exactly the most intelligent of kids. He was smart, that was for sure, but he had difficulty defining reality. He always thought of his best friend Katsuki as a kind of dog, not like as an insult, as in he literally thought Katsuki had a dog quirk. Well, was just a bipedal dog. And well, yes, he's not. Reality is kind of a loose concept to him growing up. So one day when Bakugo, Izuku, and Bakugo's cronies are walking over a log in the forest, as well they're looking for bugs, Izuku would trip and fall to the side. Now, he didn't like falling. He didn't want to fall. So, his quirk would manifest, and instead of falling into the water beneath him, his quirk restructured the air. Yes, restructured the air into a cloud, then froze that cloud in time, resulting in a soft, cushy bed that's just floating in the air. Now, naturally, Bakugo's very confused when Izuku just makes a cloud bed. So, they would run back to Inko, tell her what happened, and, Izuku would get his quirk checked out. Within the week, he'd be in the hands of the government. And, well, so yes. Anyway, time skip. The first All for One fight. You know, the fight when Izuku was like 5 that All Might had with All for One. It's either I'm misremembering things or like, yeah, tell me in the comments. If that's not the case, then I'm adding it. But yeah. Anyway, so All Might is, well, on his knees on the ground. It's near the end of the fight. All Might's injured. And just as All for One was about to deliver the finishing blow, some air would compress together and form a spark. A little, you know those wisps you get in fires? Yeah, that little piece of wood that breaks off the wood that you're burning, that slowly floats up with the smoke. Yeah, that. That would form in front of All for One, and land on his finger. And then it would start glowing brighter, and then detonate into a massive, blast of white light. As said white light would begin altering, as it would turn into glass, freezing around All for One. All for One would use a quirk to break free and kind of dash back, covered in burns and absolutely confused on the fuck just happened. So was All Might. A boy looking around to be the age of 5 with a type of spiral pattern in his eyes, would just kind of walk up to All Might. He's holding a teddy bear, as he would go, oh, hello, Mr. Monkey, I think? Are you All Might? You look like a monkey. I'm gonna call you Mr. Monkey. I was told to help you with a guy wearing a Darth Vader helmet. I don't know what that is, even. I think it's a romantic comedy, I'm not sure. The fuck? They sent a child? That's like the both of them are like, the government sent a child to save All Might. The fuck? They are just looking at this confused as hell. As Izuku would just kind of turn to All for One and say, well, they said I should bring you in alive, but, you know, I could always just bring you back from the dead. Might as well have some fun. He would snap his fingers, and suddenly the air around All for One would all ignite, creating multiple blasts of white light. Just think miniature nuclear bombs. Just the atoms splitting. As well, the energy from the blasts would proceed to be converted into spears that... Give me a moment. That would fly at All for One as he's being launched back by the force of the explosion. All for One would use the air pressure quirk he has, air burst quirk he has, to knock back the spears. They're like tungsten steel. As well, Izuku would just kind of tilt his head to the side like, huh, that's cool. I can do that too! As well, light would begin emanating from, the air around Izuku, as it would begin expanding. Now, quick little view above the city, the destroyed block that, All for One's fighting in, and city. Suddenly, a burst of air, higher than the buildings themselves, would just be rendered, just fired in a direction, leveling multiple buildings. Izuku would just kind of look at the carnage he caused by his quirk and go, whoops. and he would snap his fingers as the buildings would reform and the people inside the buildings would reform like nothing happened. All for One's on the ground, like bleeding from his head. He's very confused on the fuck is going on. As Izuku would just sigh and say, well, and yawn and go, ah, I'm bored. Is he the number one villain? He kind of looks like him, but I remember the number one villain is like some kind of a tangerine, I think. I don't know. I don't really care either. I'm bored. I want to take a nap. Guess I'm just gonna have to deal with him like this. Izuku would snap his fingers as, well, the last thing All for One sees is his body turning into rubber ducks. As Izuku would just make a cloud underneath him and, like, lay back on it like a damn chair and fall asleep. All Might is just looking at this as he would fall over unconscious. Like, oh my fuck. As he would fall down unconscious. Now, yeah, so, time skip. Around about, when Izuku's 9. Yeah. You know what, give me a moment. One night when Izuku's 9, he would just decide that he wants to try something out. He would close his eyes and focus a bit, revealing a spiral pattern. Then another, then another, then another. Then Izuku would reach out, and his hand would seemingly pass through the air like it's some kind of gelatin, reaching into a kind of portal. As Izuku would pass through and open his eyes, he would see a city similar to, well, where he is, except a version of him without skin, well, with some skin, but not all of it, as, well, their muscle fibers seem to be moving independently. This version of him's on the ground crying. So Izuku just decides not to fuck with that and just walks back in the portal. If you know who that is, you know, what if that is from, good on ya. Anyway, so yeah, Izuku would look through a couple dozen universes and just decide not to because majority of them look traumatized and he doesn't fuck with that. Hell, there's one where he, one dimension where he doesn't have an eye, well, one of his eyes is burnt off, and, well, he just really does not want to go near that universe for some reason. Like, a version of him with, like, a damaged eye, and, like, abusive Inko. Yeah, that just doesn't seem right with him, so he just decides not to really go into any other universes. However, he does go into a couple universes that are rather distant, just to see, if they're less depressing. One universe he goes to is a universe where he has octopus hair, no arms, and is very, weird and a little bit crazy. So he just nopes out of there. Another universe he goes to, he doesn't want to talk about that one. Look, having hentai tentacle hair is bad enough, but having tentacle arms? No, just no. If you get the references, good on ya. Because, I was referencing a few other what-ifs that I like, and I find as kind of friends. I made a few references there. So, yeah. Izuku just decides not to go into any other universes. He doesn't like the calamari versions of himself, and he doesn't like the versions of himself that are just constantly sad and traumatized. So he just decides to stay where he is. Oh, you skipped over mine! This isn't your video, fuck off! No, you skipped over my universe, what's his reaction? He didn't go there. When are you continuing? I'm literally like... You said you'd make a part 2 to my video if it got 25 likes. It has 28 now. When are you making the part 2? I will make it soon. Please fuck off, Absolute Freedom Izuku. Just need to check the poll after this video. You already made a poll. Why did you make a second one? I forgot to put in all the options. Yeah, keep telling yourself that. You know what, fuck you. Fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck you! Can we please get it back on with the video? I really want to do this one. And then I have another one I want to do. Yeah, the Piku Miku What If. If you don't know the game Piku Miku, how? That game is weird and insane and I love it. Yeah. The game about the red jelly bean with legs for days. Oh, don't insult the game, it's better than you. Oh, you didn't. Yes, I did. Please, fuck off. There's not enough room in this interdimensional space tree for the two of us. Go back to your universe. Climb in those leaves like the pussy you are. Yes. I'm not in a void. I'm on an interdimensional space tree. Original. Oh my goodness. Good grief. Every day I get a bit crazier. Also, yeah. Credits to C.R. Sargent for the, joke there. I saw him do it in one of his videos and I found it funny, so I'm doing it in mine, but I'm pretty sure he did it but I did it also in a video, so it's a confusing, it's confusing. It's as confusing as Sasuke's motivations. Yeah. It's very confusing. Anyway, let's get back to the what if. Anyway, so, yeah. Japan, thanks to, Izuku, has become a rather large world power, as you could say. Because they have essentially infinite resources and the ability to instantly build anything, or instantly eviscerate anything. So they've grown in power significantly, thanks to Izuku. But, they're kind of dumb, in my opinion. Actually very dumb, because they think that they can control Izuku, which they can't. He just stays with them because, he likes, the Katsudon they make. That's it. The Katsudon, that's all. That's the only reason he hasn't entirely destroyed the government. Because he likes the Katsudon. Anyway, time skip to UA. Izuku would, just be put into Class 1A via recommendations from, All Might Endeavor, Hawks, etc. Just all the top 50 ranking heroes, because those are the only heroes aware of Izuku's actual quirk. And oh my goodness, they are scared for their lives. Seriously, Izuku literally no diff to all for one for the fun of it. You don't fuck with that. Anyway, so, yeah. Izuku is, walking through the halls of UA. He would open the door, thinking about how small the door is. like I said, he has difficulties understanding how reality works. His entire quirk literally makes it so that reality is whatever he wants it to be. So his concept of small and big, not that great. Anyway, so yeah, Zuko would sit down, not before noticing Kachan and going, "Oh, Dog-chan! Zuko! Where the fuck have you been for the last something years?" "Oh, the government kidnapped me." They what? Well, they said they kidnapped me. They offered me a lollipop, and in exchange, all I had to do was, atomize a few people. Don't worry, I remade them as ducks. You know what? I can't really put that past you. You aren't the smartest. First of all, that's very concerning. Second of all, get your damned feet off the table. Fuck you. Fuck you. Oh, such vulgar language. Fuck you. No, fuck you. Izuku, can you erase this man from existence? No, they said if I just randomly did that, they'd cut back on my Katsudan. But I can turn his legs into rubber ducks. Do it. What do you mean? Ah! Like, Ida would fall over as his legs would reduce themselves to the status of a bunch of rubber ducks. What the actual fuck? Izuku would just snap his fingers and suddenly Ida's legs on, like, in one piece again. They're all normal. Ida's just like, am I high? Did brother sneak some weed into my coffee again? Your brother sneaks weed into your coffee? Yours doesn't? Okay, we're just gonna ignore that. Like, Aizawa would just kind of, slowly worm his way in as Izuku goes, "Oh, it's a caterpillar!" As, like, everyone's screaming, like, "Oh my goodness, it's a villain attack!" Izuku's like, "It's a caterpillar! Hi, Mr. Caterpillar!" Aizawa would just kind of stand up like, "Hi, I'm your teacher. Only 10 more years until retirement." "Hi there, Mr. Caterpillar. Do you want some leaves?" "Where did you get leaves from?" "Oh, Izuku would look to the side, and there's a pile of leaves where a desk was. Don't worry about it." "Do you want some?" "Sorry, I ain't eating them if they ain't weed or marijuana." The leaves would just change shape into the shape of marijuana leaves. As Aizawa's like, "Meet me after class. I'm gonna need you to turn a few... I have a few chairs that I think would look better as coffee beans." "I didn't know caterpillars ate beans." "Well, isn't that neat?" Everyone's just confused on what the fuck Izuku's quirk is, but they don't really question it, considering he just turned Ida's legs into rubber ducks. Like a pile of rubber ducks on the floor. So, yeah, ball throw. Everything would go as canon until you reach Izuku, who just decides, "I'm gonna turn the ball into light." Yes, light exists. Light is a form of matter. Why is it a form of matter? Because we need light to see. Darkness is the lack of matter. Is the lack of light. So, yeah. Izuku can just turn... Izuku just turns the ball into light, fires it off into orbit, and then turns it back into a ball. Aizawa's like, "Huh. I couldn't even use my quirk to erase yours. I'm suddenly very scared." Like, that's Aizawa's reaction. And everything else, Izuku gets, like, average. Just, like, average in the jumps and etc. So, yeah. Anyway, Bakugo and Izuku are catching up. Like, you did what to that frog again? Oh, Kat-chan, I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think turning a frog into Robo Hitler is a big deal. That was a joke. It is not meant to be offensive to anyone. It is a joke. I mean, like, I reduced him to atoms after and made a sandwich out of him, so... You will never cease to amaze and confuse me. Oh, hi, Mr. Parrot! Hey, kid! Wait, Mr. Parrot? Yeah! And aren't you the guy who was, Oh, and Mr. Caterpillar! Like, present Mike would just slowly turn to face Aizawa, whose eye is twitching, as he would just burst out laughing. Mr. Caterpillar! Remind me to call you that, Shota. Izuku would just kind of, like, put his finger on his cheek, like, Hey, Mr. Parrot? I remember you in your car, like, 15 minutes ago, like, making out with a picture of Mr. Caterpillar. Why were you? Like, Present Mike would start laughing as he would stop laughing as he would slowly turn to Aizawa, who would just start, like, who's just staring at him blankly, as, like, Mina is in the background as she would just burst out laughing. This is, like, during lunch, I'd say. Mina's just in the background as she would burst out laughing. You can hear Nezu cackling on the speakers. So, yeah. Exposing an embarrassing secret for President Mike aside, let's get into the heroes versus villains. Oh, and the sludge villain attack never happens because Izuku wasn't in the, in the area for it. So, heroes versus villains. So basically, Izuku, same teams as in canon. Uraraka and Izuku versus Bakugo and Ida. Like, Izuku, who just was, like, told, just don't do anything. Just sit down and let Uraraka do it, because, like, they don't think he won't, they know what he can do. Quick drink. So, yeah. Izuku said, no, fuck you, and just turned the building to glass. Melted it, creating a type of a slide, then had Ida and, well, Bakugo slide down, wrap them up in wood, not like that, like pieces of wood, tie them up with pieces of wood, and then just touch the bomb. Not that big of a deal. Anyway, so, yeah. Just gonna quickly talk about something really quick, because I forgot to talk about it at the beginning of the video. I have this entire speculative world, and etc., right? This entire speculative world with, like, thought-out OCs and blah blah blah. Now, one actually, inspired this what-if. I haven't really come up with a name for this character yet, but think like a suit of armor with the head of the spot, with about 20 or 30 pitch black arms that can all fire energy lasers, okay? I know, weird. That's actually the point, it's supposed to be weird. But yeah. Now, this character, this OC of mine, is meant to represent creation and destruction, and his ultimate goal is to reduce the world to nothing and restart it. That's this character's ultimate goal. And that's actually where I got this idea from. And that's where I started working on this. And yeah. So, just a little Metalita fun fact. Anyway, let's continue with the what if. USJ attack. Yeah, I know I'm going through things fast here. I have a lot I need to get off my chest in very little time. So, the USJ attack. Well, they arrive there. No one really talked to Izuku because he's very strange. He calls Tokoyami the Black Hawk, and he calls Hawks the Red Crow, entirely mixing the two up. Oh, hi, Spot. So, yeah. Yes, I have a cat named Spot. Sue me. Anyway, so, yeah. Okay, good grief. Give me a moment. So, yeah. Anyway, yeah. All for One was rescued from captivity and disappeared, like a year into his capture. And, well, so, yeah. Anyway, they arrive, villains show up, blah blah blah, get back. Izuku has no idea what's going on, so he just falls into the portal. Just falls in like, oh, that's neat. And just, like, lands head first onto the boat with Froppy and Mayonetta. Sue, Froppy, got one for all, because why not? They just kind of landed there. Izuku's just like, huh, neat. Sue's like, oh shit. Huh? Why? There's a bunch of villains coming after us, Ribbit. Oh fuck, we're done. Like, Suya would just kind of slowly turn to Mayonetta like, bitch, we have the guy who turned a building into glass. The fuck you mean, Ribbit? Yeah, I know. I'm not saying we're done because of them. I'm saying we're done because of, nuclear explosion McGee over here. You know what? That's a fair point. For once, I agree with you. Aw, that's mean. Who's nuclear explosion McGee? You. You're nuclear explosion McGee. Huh. Don't know what I would have done to earn that nickname. Flashbacks of Izuku just annihilating All for One with miniature nuclear explosions. Splitting the atom, so All for One gets blown the fuck up with a miniature sun. Just flashbacks of that, as Izuku's like, no idea. No idea why. Anyway, Izuku would just decide, you know what? The water's now ice. And the water would turn to ice at a snap of his fingers. As him and Suya would just kind of, and Mayonetta would just kind of walk past the villains as they are now stuck and trapped under ice. Then once they crossed the lake, the water would suddenly get very hot, like boiling hot, as like all the villains would jump up onto the boat like, oh, that's hot, that's hot, that's hot. So, yeah, they just casually walk across. Shigaraki just looks at Izuku and instinctively knows, Kurogiri, call out the Nomu. Why? All Might doesn't hear. Call out the motherfucking Nomu right now. Okay. As the Nomu would just appear, Shigaraki would immediately direct it to kill Izuku, as in a burst of speed, it would hit Izuku in the face and send him flying. Izuku wants to have some fun, so he would launch a few blasts of condensed energy at the Nomu, by splitting a few more atoms. They aren't really big enough to, level a city, but still does damage. But the Nomu would just proceed to do that stomping meme, like that JoJo stomping meme on Izuku, ragdoll him around like Thor like Hulk in the first Avengers movie with Loki, and just chuck him into a wall. Izuku would just kind of sit up after that, as suddenly all the wounds on his body would just close, and the blood would return into his body as he would go, "You know what? You're mean. And I'm bored. Time to traumatize a few bitches." That's just kind of what's gonna happen. Izuku doesn't say he's gonna traumatize them because he has no idea that what his quirk does traumatizes people. He would just get up. Oh, by the way, Izuku subconsciously keeps his body around when he was like 10 or 9. Just subconsciously, he forcefully keeps his body at that age. So, Izuku would just kind of gesture for the Nomu to come at him. The Nomu would sprint forward and punch Izuku. It does nothing. And it would start, going haymakers on him. Throwing haymakers. It's like, that Raiden and, Senator Armstrong meme, except with the Nomu and a child. He's just punching the shit out of Izuku, sparks are flying, but nothing's happening. Shigaraki's like, the fuck? Why isn't that working anymore? Izuku would just put his hands on his hips like, "Oh, I just, locked my body at one specific point in time, forcing it so that my body will remain like this until I say otherwise. In other words, I just used time to make my body invincible. Won't age, won't get damaged, because it'll be permanently locked at this point in time. Well, not permanently, just until I'm satisfied with it." Oh. We're fucked. Yes, you are! Izuku would just clap his hands above his head as the, roof of the USJ would disappear, and it would begin raining. Izuku would clap his hands again, and the rain would stop, and, rocks would begin floating. He would then snap his fingers as the rocks would turn red, and distort, and conjoin, and combine, until a type of spear is formed, as Izuku would gesture forwards at the Nomu, and it would impale the Nomu, hit him, and then the ground would shatter. Shigaraki's like, "The fuck did you just do?" Izuku's like, "Oh, I just hit him with the condensed mass of a red dwarf star." What? Yeah. Ain't coming back from that. The Nomu was barely alive as the spear just pulls out of its body. As the spear would begin breaking apart into these weird shapeless goo-like things that are just floating in the air. As they would begin turning into just random shit like ducks, washing machines, fish that are swimming in the air like it's water, as Izuku would just say, "You know something? I have particular beef with your boss, All For One." "How did you know my master was All For One?" "Oh, yeah, just copied the, matter of your brain and then looked through it. Yeah. Just made an exact copy of your brain and downloaded it into me." I have all your memories. Oh, that isn't good. Yep. Anyway, yeah. So, anyway, so, I just want to show you what real power looks like. Izuku would snap his fingers as the weird shapeless blobs and fish and random shit. The sky is pink now. The sky is pink. The random creatures and etc. that were made from Izuku's quirk would all compile into this round type of circle. As the circle would turn black, and it's a black hole. As Izuku would just smile and say, "You want to see a cute trick? There's this theory that physicists have that the center of a black hole is, well, something known as a singularity. And, well, the singularity has infinite mass. Infinite energy, because it has infinite gravity. And the zero horizon of a black hole, the inky blackness around it, is the universe's natural defense mechanism against, well, the zero horizon, because, well, anything can happen if the singularity is in our world. Well, in our time, if I'm being exact. Because another theory is that the gravity of a black hole is so immense that instead of you being sucked inside of the black hole, you're being pushed forwards in time, which is why it's so impossible to escape a black hole. Well, more specifically, the zero horizon, well, the inside. So, yeah, that's what scientists think is the, well, main reason on why black holes are so unescapable. But, well, when you're like me, Izuku would touch the zero horizon of the black hole and be entirely fine, and have complete and total dominance over time. Well, you can get as close as you like. Anyway, another thing that is said to be able to happen is if you positively or negatively charge a black hole enough, or have it spin fast enough, the zero horizon will dissolve, putting the singularity in front of us instead of our future or past or whatever. There's even a theory floating around that the Big Bang was a black hole's, well, singularity that, well, somehow broke out of its zero horizon. I personally like that theory, so I'm gonna recreate it. What do you mean? There's no reason to do something that drastic. Aizawa's just, like, walking out of the door. He is just gone. He is like, nope, fuck this. Fuck this shit, I'm out. Aizawa just fucking leaves. He isn't sticking around to see this. As Izuku would begin spinning the zero horizon on his finger like a damned basketball. And it would begin getting faster and faster and faster and faster and faster until all the zero horizon would begin gaining cracks in it, as a bright white light can be seen emanating from it, as the zero horizon would dissolve like... Oh my goodness. The zero horizon would dissolve like putty. And there's this bright, glowing light in Izuku's hands, as suddenly that light would vomit out a ocean's worth of rubber ducks. Izuku would raise two fingers, and the rubber ducks would stop moving, and then proceed to be turned into water, then fish, then human skulls. Izuku's just looking at Shigaraki, who's just absolutely terrified. Shigaraki's just like, his legs are quivering as he's just like, Kogiri, get us the fuck out of here. He knows where we live. Get us out. We need to make a new base. Now, pronto, goodbye. Like, Shigaraki just nopes the fuck out. Izuku's just like, huh, that was easy. As the singularity would just vanish. It would just fucking disappear. Izuku would just snap his fingers and the singularity would just implode. Reality manipulation of my degree comes with perks. Anyway, I have a rock to try and shove in my in this infinity gauntlet I bought. Dwayne, where are you? Well, not Dwayne, just Rocky, where are you? As like, Rocky Balboa and Dwayne The Rock Johnson are just hiding behind a wooden log. A piece of wood. They are just hiding behind a wooden log as, like, Rocky Balboa's like, yeah, I don't want to be shoved in that gauntlet. Neither do I, comrade. Neither do I. Like Dwayne would say as Izuku's just looking for them, shouting, Rocky! Rocky 2! Where are you two? Aizawa's just like... We cut to Aizawa, who's just in a black sedan, driving off into the damned sunset with a set of sunglasses, as, like, the narrator goes. And that's the amazing tale of how Shota Aizawa survived the end of the world. What will happen next on his exciting journey? Rocky, where are you? Anyway, yeah, goodbye, my lovely, lovely audience. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you next time. I had a lot of fun with this, if I'm being honest. Like an insane Izuku who has no idea what's going on half the time, but is just absurdly overpowered, just clicks right with me. Holy shit, I forgot something! Okay, yeah. Holy shit, I forgot how Izuku's quirk even comes to be. Oh my fuck. I can't believe I forgot this. Okay, real quick. So, Izuku would have been born from, well, Inko Midoriya. Well, Inko, whatever Irie's family name is. Yes, Inko is the sister of Irie's mom. I don't know who Irie's mother is, but I can't stress enough. Mother. Not like Irie. Irie's mother. Yeah, she's the sister of Irie's mother. And, like, you know, Irie's grandpa, the mafia boss, just kind of set Inko up on a date with Overhaul, you know, Kai Chiyosaki. They got really drunk, had a one-night stand, unprotected, and that's how Izuku was born. Yeah. They didn't start dating or anything, it was just like a one-night stand. Like, consistent hookups. That's what I mean. They've just kind of been hooking up. Anyway, goodbye, my lovely, lovely audience. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you next time. Bye-bye. I had an absurd amount of fun with this, so goodbye. Hope you enjoyed.